Hi folks, it's FloridaMan here, with another entry in my Strategic Maxims series. Today though, I'm doing something a little bit different. I'm referring to a more modern set of strategic ideas from author Robert Ringer and his book, Winning Through Intimidation. I've observed that his ideas are surprisingly very applicable to the game of diplomacy, even though his book is meant to be a business book. However, none of the ideas I'm going to mention that I think are super applicable to diplomacy are really big ideas worthy of a whole video. Rather, they're helpful little mindset tips. So this video is to break down everything in Ringer's Winning Through Intimidation that I find valuable for the purposes of the game of diplomacy. There is other stuff in the book that's of value, and I find it to be an entertaining book. But here's all the stuff that I think is useful for diplomacy. First, there's Ringer's three-type theory, which holds that there are three types of people in business. I think these same three types of people can be said to exist in diplomacy. Type 1 lets you know early on, either through his words or actions or both, that he's out to get all of your dots. He'll then follow through by attempting to do just that. Type 2 assures you that she's not interested in getting your dots, and she's just interested in making sure you get what you deserve. She then follows through like Type 1 and attempts to grab your dots anyway. Type 3 also assures you that he's not interested in getting any of your dots. But unlike Type 2, he sincerely means it. However, due to any of a number of reasons, ranging from his own bungling to personal standards for rationalizing what's right and what's wrong, he, like the other two types, still ends up trying to grab your dots. In short, no one on the diplomacy map is trustworthy enough for you to turn your back on them next to your dots. Type number 1 is someone who must be fairly confident and usually competent because he's secure enough in his success that he's letting you know, in however subtle of a way, that he's after you, right away. Type number 2 is more subtle, but she's just trying to be a cleverer version of type number 1, or she's being less honest to compensate for being less clever than type number 1. Type number 3 is basically what we call the Care Bear in diplomacy. The Care Bear is a hypocrite or a liar or a person who will somehow accidentally deliver you into the jaws of destruction while protesting as he accidentally sticks a knife into your back that he only meant the best for you. Most competent players are type number 2 because it's usually pretty difficult to succeed as type number 1 unless you're really exceptionally competent, gutsy, and unusually honest. And type number 3 is usually not very good at this game. The result of showing weakness to any of these types, and this is the moral by the way, is the same. You end up with their knives in your back and your blood everywhere. This all sounds pretty basic. Don't trust anybody. But what it really means is just look out for your own end. Don't turn your back unnecessarily. Trust that people will do what makes sense for them, rationally, to get dots as steadily and quickly and often as they can. Try to figure out which of these types you're dealing with. It's usually type number 2. If it's type 1, you should try to match that person's style and deal with them by never letting your guard all the way down and being very direct about why. If it's type 2, you should lie to them just like they're lying to you. If it's type 3, remember that person will be fairly easy pickings because that person is basically playing the wrong game, and they have a strange way of believing that they can behave in a friendly way and they can win simultaneously. Of course, that combination of behaviors is entirely contradictory and does not work in diplomacy, so you should exploit the contradiction. Ringer's theory of intimidation is another basic tip. The results a person obtains are inversely proportionate to the degree to which he is intimidated. If you find yourself intimidated, you need to find a way to reverse the roles and become the intimidator rather than the intimidatee, or you'll wind up on the losing end of deals almost every time. Related to this is Ringer's posture theory, which posits that it's not what you do or say that counts so much as what your posture is when you do or say it. If you feel weak when negotiating with other people, that will affect the negotiations. You have to have a positive, if not unrealistic, assessment of your actual power and influence, combined with guts, to be effective in dealing with other players. His last 3 tips are, in my opinion, the best. Ringer's makeable deal theory suggests that people should be realistic and try to avoid chasing after long-shot deals and just expend your efforts on a few makeable deals. or deals that are likely to succeed. Find one or two players who give you a good feeling and are in a good position to collaborate with you, and engage in an alliance with them for the whole game until you can stab one or both of them for the win. Keep it simple. Ringer's fiddle theory states that the longer a person fiddles around with something, the more likely the result will be negative. If you're trying to make a deal with someone, and the conversations are going on and on without any definite resolution, you should assume that failure is the likely result. Time is always against you when you're trying to make a deal. Any kind of deal. The circumstances that are necessary to make the deal feasible will also change during the course of the delay, and that will make the deal even more impossible if it wasn't impossible already. Finally, Ringer's bluff theory is that the best way to bluff is not to bluff at all. Powerful people are very good bluffers because they're not actually bluffing, because they have retained the capacity to walk away from the deal or to retaliate in the event they're betrayed. And they have resolved themselves to do whatever they've threatened to do, swiftly and without remorse at the merest hint of betrayal. I think there's a lot of truth in each of these theories, especially as applied to the worlds of business and the game of diplomacy. They're a little bit general, but I think they're pretty useful as mindset tools. At any rate, I hope I've given you some food for thought, and if you're interested in exploring the book further, I've included an Amazon affiliate link to purchase a copy in the description below. I'll probably be including those generally in my videos in future, especially if I discuss ideas from a specific book. If you're interested, it's a good way to support me and my channel. Thank you for checking my video out. If you liked it, please like, subscribe, and comment below with your thoughts. Until next time, FloridaMan, out.